Right, we're off.
Yes.
See what? Let me stick this on gallery view as well. I've made that mistake before. Right. Welcome everyone to the Friday Night Live. Dave, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I've had a really, really busy day. Gone in, seen the kids for 30 seconds, come straight back in here.
Very nice. Very nice. Get you out. Have you had your little man cave done up? Have you since I last saw it?
I think I'll paint. So what it was, right? I had everything in on the back wall there.
Yeah.
I found it a bit distractive, so I've taken it all off, and it looks like now I'm in a tomb.
Yeah, it's quite dark, isn't it? Yeah.
Is it better?
It's nice and oppressive.
Yeah. You can just see me, concentrate on me now, see?
Yeah. No, you're quite focused on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I noticed, mate, you've got a bit of salt and pepper going on at the front there.
Well, do you know, it always was there. It was so much worse when I was drinking. Bearing in mind, it was like 7 or 8 years ago I was drinking.
Yeah.
And I was way more, well, I say way more grey. I'm catching up to about where I was then. But it was interesting how much it backtracked when I stopped drinking.
Well, you are a bit of a Benjamin Button, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, very much so. Yeah, indeed. So thank you for coming back, particularly because I forgot to record it last time. So although the video's in the group, it never actually made it to YouTube. So I'm definitely recording it this time, which is good. But as it's not on YouTube, do you want to talk through your story a bit again?
I started drinking when I was 14, stopped when I was 54, now I'm sober. Moving on.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good weekend.
No. I mean, some people already know my story, but I had quite a normal upbringing, actually. And I lived we didn't have a lot of money at all when we were growing up, but Mum and Dad always made sure we had sort of dinner on the table, you know. I don't want to make it sound like it's Victorian England, but that's how it was.
You grew up in Croydon, was it? Croydon?
Yeah, Croydon. And then Mum left when I was 14.
Right, okay.
And funny enough, it's her birthday today, and she died 3 years ago.
Wow,
so
okay.
I went down to Arundel yesterday and took her husband out for the day.
Oh, Arundel. It's really nice down there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really lovely. And there's an old camera shop there, and John loves it there. So I took him in there. He's got millions of old cameras and that, and I bought him lunch. And it was a really nice day, you know. But yeah, my mum left, and then quickly after that, my dad met someone else, and I was only 14.
14, and your mum left. Did that? So didn't really affect you then? Not like deeply long-term scars or anything. You were, I suppose, 14.
No, it did affect me.
Oh, it did, did it?
It did affect me because I didn't know it was coming. I got up in the morning, there was a letter on the table. So it was a real shock to me, you know, like there's a letter and I opened it and said, "Hi, Dave, just to let you know, I've left your father and I'll be in touch." And it's like, all right, I'll go to school then.
Yeah.
You know, and then it was a few weeks after, it might have been longer, you know, when you're a kid, you lose track of time and that. Yeah. And my dad met someone and she made it very awkward for me to just be downstairs and stuff like that. And I got in where it was a rough school, and I kind of kept away from the wrong crowd.
Yeah.
Before this happened, but because I felt rejected and that, I got in with the wrong crowd, and I started following them around. We used to go at this place called the Circle in Carshalton, and it was just a big roundabout with the shops round, and it had offie. So we used to hang around out there and our loose change, give the adults money to buy us booze and that. Then ended up going down a pub. I absolutely loved drinking. You know, it just sold everything. 20s into sport. You know, when you play football, finish that. Always go for a beer club. It's sort of a kind of normal 20s. You know, and my 30s was I started going to a local pub. My neighbour Andy Betts, he said, "I go to a little local around the corner. Do you fancy coming down there one night?" And I did. Jesus, that was the worst thing I could have ever done because it become my regular pub.
Oh, right. So every day, yeah.
Yeah, so I used to go in there after work and play pool and that. But that's when I got nicknamed Glugs because I could drink really quick. because I would just down them.
Mm.
And I used to drink light and lagers because when they poured out the lager, it was nearly 3/4 of a pint. So I knew I was getting more,
Yeah.
you know. So, and I could go in there after work and drink 6, 7 pints after work for an hour and a half, you know. But then what I started doing was going over the offie, literally an offie on the corner over the road. So I used to walk home, whiz in there, buy 4 cans of Diamond White. We all know what that's like, right? I used to drink them on the tube in the morning, didn't you? Not even in a bag. And then I would go home and sit drinking that. I remember it got to a peak that was never enough for. So there was a shop up the road that sold a cider called 1727, which was equally lethal in a green can. So I find myself at 10 o'clock at night going to this shop up the road to get 8 cans, and I'd sit there, you know, like absolutely. And cider was evil, wasn't it?
It was like yeah.
And then in my 40s, I moved. I bought a house when I was 40, and the pub was too far away, so I started drinking indoors. And I don't know if anyone listening remembers the old 3 for a tenner bottles of wine for a tenner in Asda's or something.
Yeah, there was a few
quid.
did that, wasn't there? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, and because the smoking ban came into the pubs as well, people were more drinking at home. So I started.
I
used to smoke, yeah.
Okay, right, yeah.
Roll ups like an old goat. You know, I'd be in the pub, but only when I drank. And then, it was weird. It was absolutely weird, right? And then I started drinking wine indoors, and it started off with 1 bottle, then 1.5, 2, and then 3. So I'd go for the 3. Then I started putting on weight. Google, what alcohol has the least calories in?
Yeah.
Oh, vodka. Surprise, surprise. I get a bottle of vodka, right? Started drinking that. 1 bottle was never enough. So I ended up buying litres. So, and now I drink a litre a night.
Blimey, yeah.
Right. And then I joined 60-Minute Makeover. That was out every single night, getting sloshed, hotels, and then I met Em. And I never told her, and I kept it from her because she didn't know really, because I lived on my own then. And I used to say to her things like, I'm going to watch a film tonight. Let's talk tomorrow, because I knew that after the film, I'd be so drunk, I wouldn't be able to talk to her on the phone, or I didn't want her to know. But it was when I moved in with her, the cracks began to show, because for the first couple of weeks, I was climbing the walls thinking, how am I going to get through tonight without a drink? Then I started introducing it, like in the week. Oh, do you fancy a glass of wine tonight? Oh, I don't normally drink in a week, but okay. But then I started bringing in extra, hiding it, and then it just went from there. And it got to a stage that my weight, I went up to nearly 20 stone, right?
Yeah.
I saw a picture of me in 60-Minute Makeover the other day on the telly. It randomly come on, right? And my face was like that. It was horrendous. Yeah. My blood pressure was 184 over 126. And the doctor said, I don't know how you're still here. You know, as I broke the chair sitting in it when I was talking to him. And then I had the rock bottom in Eastbourne, which was 4 days of all day drinking in the pub. Then it was a good idea, mate, wasn't it? Buying a bottle of vodka and sleeping on the beach every night. Brilliant idea. And I remember getting up thinking, I've got to go for a walk, and just literally headbutting the stones, cutting my head open. And that weren't enough for me. I still carried on drinking, and it was nearly 3 years ago now that it was literally got up, and I thought, well, I see I'm done now. And here I am talking to a fine, good-looking man like yourself.
You did you went down to and revisited that pub and beach, didn't you?
Yeah.
That must have been weird doing that.
Do you know what? We all deal with things differently, don't we? And I wanted closure over it, because it was such a dark period in my life.
Yeah.
Because not only that, the doctor beforehand had prescribed me with antidepressants, doubled my dose. And he didn't even ask me about my drinking. He just said, look, let's try 100 milligram, right? And I tried them. And then I drank all that, and I think I went mad. Like, I literally think I went mad. So when I went back to Eastbourne, I actually visited the places that I knew. I had these dark times, and I sat with it for a couple of hours, and I just looked at it and I thought, it's sort of cemented to me that it doesn't matter how old you are, we're all capable of doing anything we want if we put our mind to it. And for me, drinking the amount I was drinking, to just stop, and we've discussed this before, which people might want to know about, is how I didn't withdraw or have a seizure after what I was drinking was a bloody miracle.
Yeah, it's quite a lot, wasn't it? Yeah. And for the amount of time you were drinking as well, because it's not just how much you're drinking, it's how many years you're drinking it for.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and when I say a litre of vodka a night, it was. And at weekends, it would be Stella's as well, because that would be my starter. I never got to the dessert because I just passed out.
Yeah. So how did you go about stopping? I mean, I mean, you're there. I appreciate you have this rock bottom, but you've said yourself, you actually, that trip to Eastbourne, that wasn't you stopping drinking. You went back home to London, and then the stopping came slightly after that, didn't it?
Yeah, it was a few months after. So that was at Easter in 2018.
Okay.
But in that year, I had my Rolex stolen, and it was a 10 grand Rolex. I had the builder knock me for 25 grand. He just disappeared with the money, and my mum died.
Oh dear.
And it was a really, really tough year.
Yeah.
But it got to Christmas, and I remember going to her dad for Christmas, and there was one bottle of wine on the table between 10 of us. And I was like, I can't handle this. And I started looking around for booze.
Yeah.
And her dad would have chopped my hands off, basically. And it was like torture. But I realised after that I'd done it on purpose because of my drinking. And there's a photograph, and it's like what you see in Hello magazine or these cheap magazines where you see someone on the front and they're like, that was the day I decided to stop eating donuts or something. I saw myself and I looked so ill, like really ill. And I looked at myself, thought, I ain't going to last another year here. No. I'm not. I looked so ill. But on the 7th of January, I got a text message from a friend up the road who's like, he's like a spiritual bloke. He just knows things about everything that you think, how the hell do you know that? You know? And I had a raging hangover Monday morning. He texted me and he said, hi, Dave, how would you like to give up drinking with me for 3 months to see where you are in your marriage, your health, your life, blah, blah. And I looked at it, I went, are you having a laugh? I can't give up 3 days. And I threw it like that. But it did something, because throughout the day I started thinking, I wonder what I would look like. I wonder how my health would be. I wonder how me and him would be. And it kind of like trickled in. I remember pulling over in Collier's Wood by this petrol station, texting him and saying, are you in? And the funny thing is, right, if he'd have said, no, I'm out tonight, I might not be sitting here.
No.
Because it was the timing. Yeah. And he said, yeah, I'm in, come and see me. So I pulled out and I walked in, it was a great big lump, 6'8" or something. And I looked at him and he was just looking all wise at me, and I went, that's it, let's do it. And that was it. Literally, that was it. No. I've never had a drop since. And it's like a miracle.
And did he stop for good as well, or did he do his 3 months?
He wasn't really a drinker, mate.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
So it was his way. I think he'd seen what I was like. I think he bumped into him over the common and said to her, how's Dave? And she went, oh, you know, like, blah, blah. So it was always very loyal to me, but I think by the state, she looked about 138 by the weekend that she probably had with me, snoring and bellowing everywhere. And he kind of knew, so it was his way. And that's why I always say to people, you can't really tell people, because it can have a real negative reaction. You know, it's how you approach people, and it's how he did it with me that just did it. It worked.
Yeah.
And as I did it, it was like, I remember the first day, and when I left him, and neighbours were talking about the work that we were having done on our extensions. We had to have them both done at the same time. And he went, "Do you want a beer, son?" And I went, "No, I don't drink anymore." And that was it. It wasn't, "Oh no, I'm all right," or "No, I don't drink anymore." And that's how I live my life, with two extremes, you know. And we talked about it before, the all or nothing thing. So
that's one of the reasons I think it works very well. I know Annie Grace mentioned, what does she call it? Like
that, wasn't it? Spontaneous sobriety.
That's it, yeah. But a lot of it is that certainty, because I've spoken about cravings before. People kind of think of cravings as just something that happens to you and you have to like live through them and suffer them. But craving is a thought process. So
absolutely.
a drink enters your mind, and if you start fantasizing about it and obsessing over it, then that's what craving is. But if you shut it, and it's easier said, it's all very well saying shut it dead, but when you're thinking about it, you can't do it. It takes a lot of work to get into this. But like, if you get there like you did, so you're just like, I don't drink, you don't waste a second thinking about drinking. I mean, I think about drinking probably 90% of my waking hours because of what I do. But I never think about actually having a drink. Yeah, exactly. And that's the difference. It's that just.
Do you know what I did it, mate? It was almost like I realised that because the way I look at it is like the relationship of alcohol. So I looked at it like a mistress that was getting in the way of everything, and I finished it with the mistress, and I said, "I don't want to hear from you ever again. That is it. I cut it completely out of my life, right?" But that doesn't mean to say I don't think about her, because I do. And there's times that I miss her, but I'm in control of that. I control it all because that was my decision, and that's how I do it. I can't do it any other way.
Yeah. Did you go into it? Oh, you might not remember, but did you go into it thinking, I will do 3 months and see where things are, and then like do your 3 months and think, this is great, I'm going to stick to it? Or were you there? Was that it for you at that point, or were you not really?
No, to be fair, I went into it thinking I'd do the 3 months, but it didn't take long before I then reflected on that and thought to myself, what am I going to do after 3 months? And I was walking my dog at the time, and I saw the local pub in the corner, like over there. And I thought, because that holds a lot of good fantasy memories to me of the beer garden and the sun, and they got like a burgers thing outside, and you know, the whole thing. And I thought, I'd be back there in 3 months. So I'd be doing, what's the point? It's a waste of time. If it's like dry January, why? Some people do it for a health kick, which is fine. But if people say, do you know, I'm going to do dry January and after that give up on that, and they go back, it's like, what's the point? Because it could be bloody dangerous, actually.
Do you know, I think with dry January, a lot of it is justifying drinking loads over Christmas, because people just
go to the gym.
They eat loads, and it's not particularly pleasant. And the way they justify it is, I'll stop in January. I'll have a month off in January. So it's really, they're not stopping to try and experience sobriety or to see how much better life is without it. All they're doing is gritting their teeth and paying their penance for all the drinking they did over.
I agree.
It's as simple as weight loss. They just put on weight, so they try and diet and cut out booze because it helps you losing weight in January, and that's it. But if you don't go about it the right way, you don't really reap the benefits, to be honest.
No. So what I did, I thought, right, I'm going to do 500 days and raise some money. But it was after a month, I thought, do you know what, sod it, that's it. That was it.
Yeah.
And then I kind of owned it. But throughout this nearly 3 years, it's a journey, isn't it? It's never linear.
No.
And I learn things now that help me still. Like, so for instance, I talked to Simon Chappell on a live about a month ago or whatever. And it came to me then, actually, what if nothing actually replaces that feeling I got from drinking, right? So we all have these, let's meditate, let's do breath work, let's exercise. Let's do a bloody jigsaw puzzle. Let's do watercolor. How does that feel for me if there's nothing to replace that? And once I thought that, I thought maybe nothing would, because it's a certain feeling in it, that dopamine. You can have short bursts, say you go to see Fulham and they never score, so you're never going to get a bloody dopamine rush there. But, you know, like you can have things at a sports event that you have that huge dopamine rush of, and you're like ecstatic in that. But, you know, it's rare. So I kind of accepted for me that I will never feel that again, but that's okay as well. And this is subjective to everyone else, but it works for me because it's almost like more closure. The more I go on, the more closure I get, because I was always chasing something to give me that feeling that drinking gave me. And I thought, well, do I have to do that? It's like meeting someone that you fall madly in love with, and then it ends, and you still love them when you're old. Do you know what I mean? It's like I might still love that fantasy of drinking, but I've let it go now, and it feels quite freeing.
I think for me, a lot of it was fantasy. I still think the times I used to enjoy drinking most was when I was like, had a stinking hangover. I was really feeling rotten and I could just sit down on the sofa and have a few drinks. And to me, that was like, yeah, that did feel really good, but only because it was anesthetizing all the horrible feelings that I had from the previous drink.
Yeah.
The only other time I used to enjoy drinking was when I was out with friends. But then, of course, you get an endorphin rush from socializing anyway. And I genuinely, I mean, Annie Grace says about this, and I mention it as well. And it's a weird one because quite often what I would do is just get, like at the end of the week, Friday or something, I just get a few drinks and just sit at home and drink them. Because that was kind of like, you know, I'm growing up now. I'm not going to be out with my mates, but I'll still have a bottle of wine or something in front of the telly. And I think sitting down there and really analysing it, it's not that good a feeling anyway. The main benefit, so there's a few benefits. One is it anaesthetizing all the anxiety from the previous drinking. The other one is when you're out with mates, because it will bring on that endorphin rush a bit sooner, because when you're relaxed and socializing, you get an endorphin buzz. Now, what alcohol will do, by anaesthetizing those nerves we get when we're socializing, it can bring the endorphin rush on a bit sooner. And the only other time, talking about craving, because I used to drink, a lot of my drinking was at home on my own on a Friday night, having not drunk during the week. So actually I wasn't getting either of those two buzzes, but it was still crucial. And for me, that was the simple craving thing. It was Friday night, and if I was sat there watching TV and I couldn't have a drink, I would just be obsessing about it. So when I finally poured myself a drink, all I was actually doing was removing that craving so that I could get on with just enjoying relaxing.
Yeah, but what is the craving, right? Because if you have a particular time in the day that you like a drink, so say it's 6 o'clock, right? Around 5:15, 5:30, you're going to be thinking about that. You're going to be, oh, I can have a drink soon. Because most people stick to their time, right?
Yeah.
But so why don't you think of that 1 in the afternoon? It's because you're used to doing it and your brain is telling you that is the time that I normally drink.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like a lot of it is completely in the mind of what you're telling yourself. So that's why you go all week without drinking. Friday night, it's Friday. I can have my drink. I deserve it. All that crap that you come up with. That's what I do on a Friday. I've been really good in the week. I deserve it. And the first drink, that's not. But after that, you're like, oh, is that it then? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
But it's in there. Honestly, a lot of it's in there. And if you can overcome that, you're on a winner.
Yeah, that's it. It is all, absolutely. Most of it is in the mind completely. It's just, it's that craving cycle.
I think it's the craving comes from what you tell yourself. And that's why I say to people in the morning, if you start your day, now I've got some people that I work with, right? And I get them to text me every morning, day, say 17, I will not drink alcohol today, right? You are telling your brain straight off, without even having a cup of tea, you're not drinking today. Or the other way round. Tonight, I will put my head on my pillow, alcohol-free or without drink. It's the other way around. But it's you being in charge of your mind and your thought process. Is you like, this is what I'm doing, and that's the end of it, you know? Yeah. Rather than, I'm not going to drink today, and about 1 o'clock, I might just have one though. What's going to happen after that? You'd lay money on the fact that they're going to get pissed that night.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's opening that door to that one drink, isn't it? That's the thing. And
and you own it like that. You own it like that, and it's
pushes further. So talk me through, because I don't think you've actually talked me through this bit particularly. So you've quit drinking, and then talk me through the bit where you've quit, you're getting on with it, you decided you're going to quit for good, to where you've got to now, which is all the other stuff you do around it. How did that all fall into place?
Oh, it's just mad, isn't it? I mean, when I was drinking, I was studying to be a counsellor, because I've always loved talking to people, listening to people. It's a real passion, even from a young age. I remember sitting on this bench with a woman, sounds dodgy actually, in a park, because she was crying, but I was only about 20, and I just sat there and I said, "Are you okay?" And she started talking to me, and I just had this real sort of natural flair for listening to people, you know. So I got a place in college before I gave up drinking, and I passed my level 2, then went to level 3. But that's when my mum became ill and died. And but actually the lecturer said, "Look, you should really just retake this next year," because I just wasn't in my headspace, you know.
Yeah.
And then I gave up drinking, and I just, with my Instagram, people started messaging me quite soon into my journey, saying, "Oh, I can really relate to that."
You were quite open on your Instagram then, were you, about quitting drinking? And
100%, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a complete open book. And I really, like, it was part of my journey of like giving back, helped me. It really did help me. And that sort of started with that. And then I did a couple of courses, and then I did the Jolene Park Grey Area Drinking course as well, which I really enjoyed, actually. It was great. So then I become a certified coach, and then I just started that. So I do my coaching. So now that's taken over from my job of 40 years, which was Dave the Carpet. I was in the carpet trade for that time. Now I don't do it at all.
Oh, wow. You transitioned there.
I've literally transitioned at my age.
Yeah.
Which I thought that would be it. I'd be an old man with my old tool bag, 75. "Hello, love, come do your carpet." And thank God I'm not, because I was embarrassed at my age turning up in like trousers with holes in and that. Anyway, so do that. And then my podcast, my wife Em come out of the bathroom one day. She went, "I'm really thinking about doing a podcast." I went, "That's a good idea. I think I'll do one too." Within a month, episode 1, season 1 was out. Literally, I bought a Rodecaster Pro. I bought this mic here, like all that. And I asked you to come on, didn't I?
Yeah.
Mark Adderley came on, Nadia Swaller's husband. And then Katie McNichol came on. I had some great guests in the first set. And on the first day it went out, it went in the top 10 of the Apple podcast. It was like mad, absolutely mad. And now, as you know, I'm on season 3, and it started with Cherry Healey this week, and that's had a massive. It's gone to number 11 in the charts yesterday.
Yeah.
But I love the podcast. I absolutely love doing it. And I've got some incredible guests this season now, like some guests that would be really surprising. There's a lad who's like 23, who's incredible. He lives in Australia, but all around mindset and positive thinking, and he's alcohol free, and he's just amazing. I've got a journalist who's coming on, who's into extreme sports after sobriety, because we have to find things to replace things. So it's like ultra marathons and all these things, and she's in lots of books, but it's expanding my knowledge around things. And it's just like you and me chatting, You know, I never plan it. I never go, oh, I need to swat up on my notes for my podcast tomorrow. I just turn up.
Yeah.
I think you would do that. And then,
Yeah,
you know, there's all the other things. I do a bit of public speaking now, and which is ironic because you're the first person I talked to about it. But I did one in the school the other day, didn't I?
I saw that. Yeah. How did that go? Was that good? Where was that?
Yeah, it was in Hertfordshire, and Vicky, a teacher there, asked me to do it with, and I asked Sarah Drake to come along. So if no one follows Sarah Drake, do, because she's amazing. And yeah, in the morning it was in front of 200 students, in the afternoon 200, but the afternoon crowd were older and more into sport and that, and it was a bit of a tougher crowd. And I was pretty nervous, to be honest, but when I got up, I thought, why am I making this about me? Why? This isn't about me. It's about my message that I want to give to them. And it changed it for me. So when I got up, I had these notes and I didn't even use them. I just thought, you know, I told them a bit about my story, but the takeaway, I suppose, was what could I give kids of 16 to 18-year-olds to think about? And it was basically to that no, it's okay to say no if you don't want to drink. You know, avoid the peer pressure. Don't worry about all your mates ganging up. Come on, you pussy, what are you doing, whatever. And be bloody sensible, because you can ruin your life. And as you and me agree, it's the escalating amount you drink that gets you into trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't spoken for a while, but I've read a lot more into this disease theory. And it's really interesting because there's no evidence of it at all as a disease.
No.
And I agree with you. It's the accumulative drinking, because I never started on a litre of vodka. My tolerance got more, and I needed more alcohol to give me the hit. And it ended up that I would just pass out because of the quantity. So I probably could never drink more than that. I would just pass out. And so that was my message. And do you know what? At the end of it, a few students actually followed me on Instagram and messaged me after.
Oh, right.
And it was great because they were saying, I can't stop thinking about what you said, Dave. And you're right. I do feel pressured by my mates and I'm not going to do that anymore, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so it's like if you plant a little seeds in these kids' heads and that, and they've got more opportunity than we had because we didn't have any bloody education, did we? And in those days, we didn't know about it.
No. It's very different these days, because I remember like growing up and just like on TV, people smoking and drinking all the time. Funny enough, we stuck on, you know, like the A-Team, the original A-Team. And it's like, they were like, oh, Daddy, like he's smoking. Because, you know, like Hannibal's got a cigar in his mouth the whole time.
I know.
And that's just what it was. But I remember like people drinking all the time on TV. I mean, you still see it a lot, but not half as much as you used to. We really used to get bombarded with that. People, like, anytime anything happens stressful, they pour themselves a drink and light a cigarette.
I know. Or no, you go on a holiday and go on the plane, and the back lot at the back,
smoking. Yeah.
Drinking. And I remember going to Greece with some mates, and I didn't smoke then, but I started smoking on the plane. And I must have had 10 fags on the plane and was drinking like whiskey or something. And we all got off plastered.
Yeah.
Off the plane, you know, or you go in the cinema and they were smoking. And
I remember that. Yeah, they used to have like the left hand in Wimbledon Cinema. They used to have the left hand side for smoking, and the top and back of the buses, didn't you? You used to be able to go up the bus and go to the back.
I used to work opposite the Wimbledon Cinema. I'm sure, because we're quite local to each other, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Yeah. Wow. Right, we got a few questions. You want to have a go at them?
Yeah, I didn't realise I've been rabbiting 35 minutes.
Oh, actually, I'm going to start on one question because it was a story you told last time and we were asked a bit of clarification on it. Last time Dave told a story that he was covered in wine in his kitchen when his wife came home. Was it red or rosé?
Yeah, I've answered that already.
You've answered that one already.
It was red, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I was literally out of my head that day.
What was that? That was Sunday lunch, wasn't it? You were
Sunday lunch, yeah, when I took all the crackling off the roast pork and ate it, and it was like a dead rat. and I drank a whole box of wine in about 2.5 hours. 3-litre ones. There's 4 bottles.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Jesus. Yeah. Someone's put, well, this is an interesting one. You're asking for topics. I'd love to know how you dealt with cravings in the early days of sobriety. I get to about 10, 12 days and the cravings hit me so bad I give in. Did Annie Grace's live alcohol experiment last month and watched all the videos to have a better understanding, but they still get me. I think we've kind of talked about that, haven't they? I think you dealt with yours by just being absolutely cast iron. You weren't drinking again. So just didn't.
I did get them. I mean, they said 12 days, which could be a bit of the pink cloud, couldn't it? Because for me, when I first stopped, I did have that euphoria of I can't believe it. I can't believe I've just stopped, and that probably did last a couple of weeks. And then you go into the 3rd weekend, don't you? And you're thinking, right, I've done. Oh, is it getting a bit boring now and whatever? And then I definitely did and do remember cravings. And the only way that I could deal with them was to sit with them. But also I found going out from my environment was really handy, because if I sat in the room that I would normally drink, which would be my downstairs is all open plan, right? So the fridge is in the lounge, everything's kitchen. So I kind of learned to just avoid being in that situation. So I would go out or go for a drive or go for a walk or take Lola out and that. And it really helped, because I found it was really short-lived, actually. It was like a half an hour thing. And it's, you know, when you're starving and you say, oh, I could eat a horse. And an hour later, all right, do you want something? No, I've gone through it now, I'm all right. It's like that.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, the more you get used to it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that's right, because I think a lot of people, Alan Carr always used to say, you know, when you quit a drug, you shouldn't change your lifestyle because of it. You should just carry on as before. You're still you, but you're just not taking whatever drug it is you're taking. But I think the problem with that and alcohol, because it ruins your sleep and because it sedates you, you're tired a lot. You're not doing much. You're happy to just sit around and stick the TV on, and you're half drunk, so you don't really care what's on the TV. And when you quit, you start sleeping better. You start getting a bit more energy. Your brain's sparking a bit more. And if you just sit around at home watching boring rubbish on TV, it's not going to engage you, and chances are you're going to end up just thinking about drinking all the time. So I really think with alcohol, when you quit, you need to bear in mind you're going to have a lot more time and a lot more physical and mental energy. And sitting there, like, as I say, a lot of people just open a bottle of wine and put the TV on. I can't watch TV these days. I find it incredibly boring. I get really restless. I could watch it fine when I was drinking, but you do need to think to yourself, I've got more energy, physical and mental energy, and a lot more time. What am I going to do? And it doesn't really do to say, right, come in from work at 6 or 7 and sit there until 11 o'clock, not drinking. You know,
it's not only that, you're going to be sitting there thinking about bloody drinking. That's the thing. Yeah. And also, you're going to be sitting there thinking about all the things that you blunted out before. So what are you going to do with that? You need to keep busy, because you can't just jump from A to Z and think, oh, do you know what? I've blunted out all my feelings 40 years. And not only am I self-medicating, I've got to think about them and think about drinking as well.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you go out and do things, you know? And, you know, like I used to go out and put my headphones on and play my favourite album or something, because I never really used to think about it then, you know, and that gave me a dopamine hit. Or, you know, walking out, I gave up in January, so by then it's sort of early spring, and go out along the Wandsworth Common and go by the duck pond, and it was nice. It gave me a good feeling, you know, to be out and about. And there's also a novelty, because I wouldn't normally do that unless I was going to the pub. And the other thing I used to do is go to bed really early.
Yeah.
Because I would never drink in bed. So removing yourself from the location really helped me. It was like I didn't familiarize myself with drinking when I went to bed. So it was almost like, I feel safe now. This is my safety area. And whether it be, there's some old dodgy book out there, Alcohol Explained or something. I might have read that and just thrown it and got Simon Chappell's book out. But yeah, no, I just used to go on my MacBook and that. And then I'm a bit of an anorak when it comes to the science as well. And I started Googling things and before you know it, you're tired and you go to sleep. And then you're on the next day and you start again. And it's like the euphoria that you haven't drank the day before, as you know, is like,
yeah,
I'm going to do that again today.
Yeah. See, I was quite lucky because I always used to exercise. So I remember when I was in the army still, I remember they used to get you up at like ridiculous time in the morning when it's still dark, and they would run you absolutely ragged. Yeah. And then you go and grab, and you'd hate it. You'd hate every second of it. And then you'd grab a shower, you'd have some breakfast. And I remember sitting there at breakfast thinking, that was horrible. But actually, I feel really good now.
Yeah.
And that got me into a lifelong habit of exercising, like getting up early and exercising. Like this time of year, it's pretty grim because it's dark, it's cold, but it's only like half an hour, 40 minutes. And I feel good all day. And talking about, what you're talking about, that good feeling you get, the best feeling I ever get is when I have done a run and I just get on with my normal day. And the thing I love about that is as well, by the time you hit the evening, you're genuinely tired. And it's so nice to just sit down with a book or stick the TV on or whatever. And
or a podcast for the road. Or what? Yeah. No, it is though. And that's the lovely feeling, is that when I go to bed, I mean, I've had a really crazy day in here all day. But like you said about exercise, and I now lost 2 stone since I last saw you, by the way.
Blimey. Wow.
Yeah. So I've got a personal trainer and I always do it first thing in the morning. If she says, 3 o'clock, no. It's got to be 8 or 9. I want to get out of the way. I walk there, walk back, have a shower here, and then I come in here and then I'm ready. It's like, I that works for me. But I see you, like you posted your pictures on Instagram and that, and you're always out early for a run. And it's got to give you that good start to the day, isn't it?
It is. And I think I didn't really do any of this deliberately, but looking back on it and analysing it, I think that was one of the things that really helped me in those early days. Was like getting up, going out for a run, and then, by the time the evening comes. And I think as well, when you do that, when you have because this is the other thing, when you have a bad day, for most of us, we're sedentary all day, aren't we? You're doing your counselling, I'm doing my office job. So you have like a stressful day, but you're not working off that stress. So you come home and you're kind of like all tense. And exercise actually helps with that as well, because I think a lot of us get into having a drink to relieve that tension of the day.
But it's the default thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's, that whole wherever you look and come on, mate, let's go for a drink. We've had our day, or it's been a great day. We won that contract. Let's go for a drink. Or, oh my God, what a boring day. Should we just go down the pub? It's like everything's an excuse, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know, I know we're time conscious, but I was at Soho Farmhouse a few weeks ago, and there's this table of 7 people, and they all went midday. One said, "Oh, should we get a drink?" Yes, Friday, woo! And I was just sitting there with my little cup of Earl Grey, and I watched them, and they all chinked their glasses, right? But over the next 2 hours, I was watching the relationship they had with alcohol individually. And there was 2 or 3 of them that I knew were the pissheads. So, darling, Jägerbomb. And there was a girl that should, no thanks, I'm fine. And then another girl, she had hers there for ages and whatever. And I thought it's really interesting to
different people.
Different people's relationships with alcohol. It's fascinating to watch.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? People on their different paths.
Incredible.
Well, I don't think we're going to manage all the questions, but we might do one or two more. How to deal with process feelings of guilt, of neglect, not being present for family, children whilst we were in active addiction, and how to try to let it go moving forward and heal the wounds that I've caused family and friends.
That's a hard one,
isn't it? Yeah.
It's a hard one because we're wrapped with guilt with a lot of things, aren't we? From the past. And sometimes you can say, you have to move on from the past, but when it's with your kids and relationships, it's in the present, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's really, really difficult to deal with. So it's either having more conversations with those members of the family, but it's really broken. It's really difficult because there's not a lot you can do about the past apart from apologise, is there?
No.
And I always say you can make up for it now by not drinking and be present in the now. But if the damage has been done before, it's really, really hard to and there's family therapy that people can have, and that can be a suggestion maybe.
Yeah.
Would you be prepared to have some family therapy? Because I am on a new journey now and I have changed things and I really want to repair what's been done. I genuinely do. And if they still aren't willing to do that, then what can you do with that? It's difficult. Well, I suppose keep plugging along, really.
Yeah, I think time, I know this is a cliche, but time is a great healer. And I think for a lot of us who drank too much, the problem is, the usual dynamic is you wake up, you feel awful, you say, oh, I'm not going to drink again. And then sure enough, you do. So people you're living with, your loved ones, they hear a lot from you, I'm not going to drink again. And then you do. So what they learn is that you're not to be trusted when you say you're not going to drink again. I remember when I'd quit, had to go out to this work function, and I came back and my wife took one look at me and said, you've been drinking, haven't you? I was like, no, I haven't. And I hadn't been drinking. And I know sometimes people post like that and they're really angry and they're like, oh, they didn't trust me, blah, blah, blah. But for me, I'd lied through my teeth to her so many times. It was like, I earned that. And actually now, 7.5 years down the line, she does believe me that I don't drink for obvious reasons. But my point is, it doesn't necessarily take 7.5 years. But as the days turn into weeks and turn into months, what they will start to realize is actually this time is different and you have quit this time. And then they will start, these things can be rebuilt. It's not impossible, but most of these relationships can be rebuilt. But the first thing you need to rebuild is the trust. They need to believe that you're not going to drink again. And for a lot of us, that is a time issue. That is.
I agree. And it can take a long time, but when you reflect on how long you've been drinking, and like for my wife and that, we've only known each other 7 years, but 4 of them was pretty hell for her, with my drinking. So for me, it took a while, and she still worries now. She says, I don't know what I would do if you had a drink after all that time, but I won't, and I can say that. I think that. It's just not part of my life anymore. It's gone.
Yeah.
I just don't. I'm not interested, and I've got too much to lose as well.
Yeah, I think for me, it's understanding how all the benefits are either completely fake or illusions, or at least massively exaggerated by the chemical and the psychological factors. Because the usual thing to do, like when you're going to quit drinking or smoking or whatever, people say, make a list of all the reasons you want to quit, which is fine. But we don't drink for the reasons we want to quit. We drink for all the perceived benefits. So if you're really going to do a good job on stopping, the best thing to do is make a big, long list of all the reasons you want to drink and start breaking them down and seeing why they're false. And I think that's why I can confidently say I'm not going to drink again, because I don't see any benefit to it. And people saying, if you were going to die tomorrow, would you drink? And I think, no, I wouldn't drink. I genuinely wouldn't want to. Like if I was going to die in the morning, why would I want to waste tonight feeling groggy and half stupefied? It's just I just wouldn't do it.
But it's also like, what would alcohol bring to your life now? Nothing, absolutely nothing. Why? It doesn't make sense anymore.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
got any more questions?
There's a load of them, but I think we'll probably I'll have to pick them up another day, I think. So tell us though about this Christmas party that I'm not invited to.
Well, you are. But I don't know what you've been doing because it's sold out basically.
Is it sold out? Is it? Have I
It's
missed
sold out, but I've emailed them and they've allowed me another 10 tickets, right?
Okay.
So it's at a place called, it sounds really dodgy. It's at a place called the Fugitive Motel in Bethnal Green.
Wow, it does sound dodgy, doesn't it?
It's amazing. Honestly, it's lovely. And yeah, it's a taco place and there's lovely bar area, all wooden floors and leather sofas and that. And yeah, it's on December the 11th, that Saturday, 1 o'clock till 5.
Okay.
It's sold out, and if you want them, man, you better book it tonight.
Okay. You'll have to
It's
send
on
me
my
the link.
bio. Link on my bio.
Don't say that because everyone else will grab my tickets. Then I won't get.
You better hurry up. But I saved one for you because I want you there.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, I love my events. Like the last one was really good, wasn't it?
It was good.
During lockdown, and people just chill and chat. And
the thing with those events, and this would be the one regret I have about stopping drinking at this particular time in human development in the UK, and I think, you know, Australia and America is the same. Most people still drink. I think in 20, 30, 50 years, less and less people will drink. But what I realized is I always thought I didn't like socializing and alcohol was the only thing that made it bearable. What I've actually learned is socializing is about being with people you have something in common with, so you can lose yourself in a conversation. And when you do that, when you're relaxed and comfortable, you have a great time. And that day there was so good. And one of the reasons it was good is because people, you could talk to them, they weren't getting drunk and being
on your bloody nerves.
Really irritating, like talking, standing really close to you and spitting on you when you talk and stinking of alcohol. And it's just really offensive.
Yeah.
And it's so nice to be able to...
Do you know what though? I went to an event the other night in London, the Somerset House. It was
it's nice there, isn't it? Yeah.
Tickle Pink campaign with Gabby Roslin and
yeah.
And do you know what? I didn't really relate to it until someone made a comment on my post, right? And then it made me think, alcohol is such a leading contributing factor to cancer, right?
Yeah, that's a point, isn't it? Yeah.
But this was a cancer event, and a lot of the people there had cancer or had cancer, right? And the champagne was flowing all night.
Mad, isn't it?
And it's crazy. Would you have like
or cigarettes,
a Krispy Kreme stall at a diabetes convention? Do you know what I mean? It's like that. And I thought, you know, it's crazy. I was chatting to Gabby, right? She hasn't drank for 3 years. And she never talks about it. So it's funny, isn't it? That some people just, I didn't want to do it anymore, and that was it. And I said, I didn't know. Come on my podcast. No. And others like us, we don't stop talking about it.
Nothing else but this. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to come to my party?
Definitely. Yeah. I'll do that as soon as we finish, which I think we should do now, as we've been talking for nearly an hour.
That's all right, mate. I've enjoyed it. I have to go back in there now.
So just for people watching, what's the best place to find you? Obviously Instagram. You've got your website as well.
Yeah, so you can get me Sober Dave at Sober Dave, www.davidwilsoncoaching.com. That's it, really, mate. People know where I am. Just Google the shit out of me, really, and I'll come up. That's my professional bio. Can we have a bio, Mr. Wilson? Yeah, just Google it. It's fine. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Dave,
That's
much.
Fun.
And if I don't see you before, I'll see you in December then.
Well, yeah, I want to see that email ping in about 10 minutes, mate. William Paul, is it? Has bought a ticket?
Excellent. Take care.
Thanks, guys. Anyway, thanks for watching.
Cheers, everyone. Have a good
See you
weekend.
soon, mate.
Bye.
Bye.